The psychoanalytic approach was proposed mostly by Sigmund Freud. This approach suggests that people do things because of unconscious struggles started in childhood, often sexual in nature.
There are 3 theories of hypnosis: role theory, state theory, and dissociation theory. A hidden observer is when a part of us feels pain, but others do not. Today, hypnosis is the most successful and effective in pain control. Manifest content is the storyline of a dream. Latent content is the underlying meaning of a dream. Hypnotic suggestibility is how easily you can be hypnotized. Post-hypnotic amnesia is when you have no memory of being hypnotized once you have woken up. An example of free association is, I am thinking I may have an obsession about this water. The doctor has told me I am dehydrated. There's not enough water in my body. He suggested I should drink 2 to 3 liters of water every day, mineral water or tea. An example of transference is a childhood relationship. If the person is treated as a parent, they will be obeyed, but will also love and care for the person. One of the many criticisms is that there is no way to prove psychoanalytic therapy works. There is a lot of criticism on the mistakes that can be made when you pull out the manifest content and latent content.
Freud used the iceberg analogy to represent our unconscious and conscious mind. Our unconscious mind and desires are represented below the waterline. Freud believed that the unconscious mind contains our repressed memories that may be too upsetting or painful to remember. However, he believed that these repressed memories can surface unconsciously through our actions. The waterline represents our preconscious mind, in which memories can float between the surface. Lastly, our conscious mind is represented above the waterline, which contains the memories and actions that we choose to convey.
Freud created psychosexual development stages to represent the movement of sex energy or libido to different regions of the body. This explains why sex energy accumulates at different places over time. The first stage is oral development. This is when the oral personality develops, and this is described when a child becomes fixated with sucking on things to satisfy demands, such as breastfeeding. He theorized that these oral personalities can continue in life if a child breastfeeds for too long. So these people become nail biters and thumb suckers when they're stressed out. The second stage is the anal stage. At this stage, the sex energy migrates to the anal region, and the child gains satisfaction from defecation. This is when ego develops because it's the first conflict a child faces with their parents. As an infant becomes more aware of their sense of self and sense of independence. The timing of potty training influences whether a child becomes an anal retentive personality, which is obsessed with order, or an anal expulsive personality, which is disorganized.
The phallic stage. During this stage, boys experience Oedipus complex, in which they realize that they can't have their mother as they desire because of their father. This leads them to attempt to identify themselves with their father and become much like him as possible. The same goes for girls, as they experience electrocomplex, in which they attempt to identify themselves with their mother. The latency stage. This stage is the resolution of the phallic stage. Freud saw this stage as a period of unparalleled repression of sexual desires and erogenous impulses. The genital stage. At this stage, if the child remains fixated, his development will be troubled as he struggles with more repression and defenses.
Defense mechanisms emerge when the ego can't do his job and keep both the ID and superego happy.
These are methods used to reduce anxiety by distorting reality. Repression. This is pushing desires that cause anxiety out of our consciousness.
Regression. This is going back to our comfortable childhood days when we face a stressful situation.
Reaction formation occurs when the ego unknowingly changes those forbidden desires into their opposites.
Projection. This hides those bad desires by projecting them onto other people.
Rationalization is when we make up a justification for doing something that we know is completely wrong.
Displacement. This directs the unwanted desire, sex or aggression, towards something more acceptable than the root of the desire.
Sublimation occurs when we change those unwanted desires into something socially valued.
Lastly, denial. This is where a person rejects that a problem is real or that it's actually serious.
Freud gained lots of critics and followers. His followers did not even accept all of his ideas. They did accept the ID, ego, superego, and that personality was defined in childhood and the importance of the unconscious. The Neo-Freudians differed by increasing the role of the conscious and decreasing the roles of sex and violence. Psychodynamic theorists accept from Freud the idea that the unconscious is one of the factors that makes up our psyches. Two important Neo-Freudians are Alfred Adler and Karen Horney. They felt that a child's social, not sexual struggles define their personality formation. Adler proposed the inferiority complex that occurs when we fail to overcome struggles as kids. Horney spoke of a kid's sense of helplessness that creates in us a desire for love and security. She also fought back as a woman in a male-biased arena. Carl Jung agreed with Freud that the unconscious drove people. In this, he disagreed with the other Neo-Freudians. Jung thought the unconscious was more than just repressed desires, memories, and feelings. He proposed a collective unconscious. This is our supposedly common collection of images that we have gained together as human beings. Freud believed you could examine the unconscious through dream interpretation and free association. Now we use projective tests, such as thematic apperception test, TAT for short, where people are shown a picture that could be interpreted differently. The most popular projective test is the Rorschach inkblot test. It is a series of symmetrical shapes that the person tells what they see. This way, the person responds to the TAT and inkblots, and it is supposed to reveal their unconscious and their personality. Layla.
Alexa. Katerina.
Minty.
Lauren. Allie.
Natalie.
Thank you.